and we'll be telling you a little bit about them and asking you to pray for them later on in this video. In the meantime, we want to thank you for your prayers, your encouragement, your support throughout this trial that Lois and I have been facing. As many of you may know, Lois and I are both recovering from the coronavirus, and back in March, at the advice of our elders at Creekside and also CMML, we evacuated Liberia due to the impending coronavirus shutting down the borders, and ultimately because Lois was facing some health issues that we needed medical care here in the U.S. to address. And so again, we want to thank you guys for your prayers and support through this time. Now, you all sent us a request for a video and with 3 specific questions for us to answer, and I'd like to go ahead and address those questions. The first question was, what are the main activities of your ministry right now during this time of coronavirus? It's important to remember that the Indigenous Mission does have a core Indigenous team that we work with, and so being that Lois and I are not there, our team is continuing on the work in our village in Taw. The government has shut down the borders between counties in Liberia, and so our team is not able to travel county to county. However, all of our team is in our village right now on the mission and continuing on the ministry. The church that we work with, Taw Bible Church, is continuing to meet. Thankfully, the government did not force the church, especially in our village, to shut down. They are meeting with some social distancing guidelines in place, and the work of the local church, the ministry of the local church is continuing. Our school, Grace Christian Academy, was closed by government mandate due to the coronavirus. However, we've been told that we'll be able to reopen in the new school year, which should be in August or September. The closing of our school has been a little bit of a blessing in disguise, as we were in the process of doing some construction and renovation on the mission, including re-roofing the buildings. It's been helpful not to have 200 students on campus while we're doing a lot of different construction projects. But it's also been a blessing in another way. Recently, the translation of the Gola New Testament was completed after 50 years of work with different missionaries in conjunction with the Bible Society. And our construction and renovation projects are ongoing. We just recently completed a workshop, a woodworking shop, where we're going to teach vocational skills, as well as some offices for our staff. And there's much work that will be continuing. The second question was, what is the Lord teaching you lately through these unique circumstances? I'd like Lois to share about what the Lord has been teaching her through this.
Yes, and I would definitely say these have been unique circumstances that we've been experiencing the last few months. First with the miscarriage and leaving Liberia so quickly and flying back to the United States, not knowing which flights were going where and when, the final goal of reaching the United States, and then contracting COVID. And I would share that God has put on my heart just to rest in Him among all the unknowns, and also trust my husband in the many decisions he's had to make throughout the whole ordeal. And just to be reminded, God has reminded me over and over that He is near and that our lives are in His hands.
Amen. And I think personally for me, the Lord has been teaching me and reminding me to trust in His sovereignty through these things. God knew that coronavirus was coming, and we didn't. But I can look in hindsight and see how God was just systematically preparing us for the illness that Lois would be facing, our miscarriage and other things, the evacuation, being back in the U.S. during this time while our coworkers are stuck in the village. But throughout all of that, I just don't have time to share, but we have seen, even in the small details, how God was working and preparing. And that gives us assurance that He has a plan and a purpose through all of this. And we can trust, rest in, and hope in the sovereignty of God through all of this. It's been a reminder for, I think, both of us. We really thank God for His faithfulness through all of this. The third question was, what are 2 things people from Creekside can be praying for you about at this time? First, I would ask that you pray for